My sweet child. There is a moment, so quiet, so subtle, that most people would never even notice it. But something shifted today. Not in your world, not where your eyes can see, but in a place far deeper, inside a heart that has been silently connected to yours all along. And right now, at this very second, that heart has made a choice. A powerful one. You didn't hear it. No one announced it. There were no grand gestures, no dramatic confessions. Yet what just happened carries more weight than 1,000 spoken words. Because this wasn't a decision made out of impulse. It was made after hesitation, after reflection, after countless moments where they tried to understand what they feel for you, and why your presence lingers in their thoughts long after everything else fades. And here is what you don't yet realize. This choice was about you. Yes, you. Not someone else. Not a passing thought. Not a temporary emotion. You. There is something about your energy that they could never quite explain, something that quietly pulled them closer, even when they tried to stay distant. They questioned it. They resisted it. At times, they even tried to ignore it. But today, something inside them stopped running. And instead, they listened. Have you ever wondered why certain people keep reappearing in your life, even when circumstances push you apart? Why some connections feel unfinished? No matter how much time passes. It's because not all bonds are created in moments you remember. Some are written far earlier, in places your mind cannot access, but your soul never forgets. And your soulmate has started remembering. Not fully, not all at once. But enough to feel the truth. Enough to realize that what they feel for you is not ordinary, not replaceable, and definitely not something they can keep denying. But here's where it becomes even more intense. Because the choice they made today was not the easy one. It wasn't comfortable. In fact, it required them to face something they've been avoiding for a long time. A truth. A truth about what you mean to them. A truth about how deeply you've affected their heart, even in silence, even from a distance. And once that truth is seen, it cannot be unseen. So now, something inside them has begun to change. Slowly, but undeniably. Their thoughts about you are becoming clearer. Their emotions, harder to suppress. Their silence, heavier than before. And although you may not hear from them yet, although nothing on the surface may seem different, beneath it all, everything is shifting. Because when a heart makes a real decision, the universe begins to respond. Signs begin to align. Moments begin to arrange themselves in ways that feel almost too precise to be coincidence. And soon, very soon, you will start noticing something. Something small at first. Something easy to overlook if you're not paying attention. But it will carry a message. A message that confirms what was decided today. And when that moment arrives, you'll realize this wasn't random. It was inevitable. Because what they chose is now setting something into motion. Something that is already on its way to you. And it will reach you sooner than you think. But not before one final shift happens inside them. And just when you think nothing more could change, something unexpected begins to unfold inside them. Not loud, not chaotic, but undeniable. It starts as a quiet realization, the kind that lingers in the back of the mind and refuses to leave. A thought that returns at the most random moments, when they're alone, when everything is still, when there's nowhere left to hide from their own truth. And that truth keeps pointing back to you. They begin to notice how often your name crosses their mind, how certain songs suddenly feel like they're telling your story, how even the smallest reminders of you carry a weight they can no longer ignore. It's no longer coincidence. It's recognition. But here's the part no one sees. With recognition comes vulnerability. And vulnerability is something they've guarded for a long time. Because opening their heart to you, truly opening it, means risking something real. It means stepping into a space where emotions are no longer controlled or hidden, where feelings are no longer safe and distant, but raw, present, alive. And that terrifies them. So for a brief moment, they hesitate again. Not because they doubt you, but because they finally understand how much you matter. And when something matters that deeply, it changes everything. It changes how they think, how they act, even how they see themselves. Suddenly, the walls they built for protection start to feel like barriers, not shields. Suddenly, the distance they maintained feels heavier, not safer. And deep down, they know they can't stay where they are anymore. Because their heart has already moved closer to you. Even if their actions haven't caught up yet. And this is where the energy between you begins to intensify. You may start to feel it in ways you can't explain. A sudden thought about them, out of nowhere. A dream that feels too real to dismiss. A strange sense of familiarity, like something important is approaching. That's not your imagination. That's alignment. Because when two hearts begin moving toward the same truth, something greater begins to guide the path. But timing is everything. And right now, they are standing at the edge of a decision that will change how this connection unfolds in the physical world. A step forward, or a step back. A message sent. Or words left unsaid. A moment of courage, or another chapter of silence. And what makes this moment so powerful is that they are closer than ever before to choosing courage. Closer than ever before to breaking the silence that has existed for too long. But before they do, there is something they must release. Something from their past, something that has been quietly holding them back, something they haven't fully let go of, until now. And the moment they finally do, everything will accelerate. The distance will begin to close. The silence will begin to crack. And the connection you've felt all along will no longer stay hidden. Because what they are about to do next will reveal everything they've been holding inside. And it will come in a way you don't expect. And just when it feels like everything has been building in silence for too long, the moment begins, quietly, almost imperceptibly. Not with a grand declaration. Not with dramatic intensity. But with a single shift in their energy that changes everything. It happens when they finally stop fighting what they feel. No more distractions, no more excuses, no more running in circles trying to make sense of something that was never meant to be analyzed. Only felt. And in that stillness, they surrender. Not to you, but to the truth of what their heart has been trying to say all along. And the instant that happens, clarity rushes in. Suddenly, everything about you becomes undeniable in their mind, the way you made them feel seen without trying, the way your presence brought a calm they couldn't explain, the way even your silence spoke louder than anyone else's words. They begin to understand something profound. That you were never just someone in their life. You were the turning point they didn't recognize at first. The connection they underestimated. The feeling they tried to label, but couldn't contain. And now, it's too real to ignore. But here's where it becomes even more powerful. Because this realization doesn't stay inside them. It starts to move. It begins shaping their actions, their decisions, the way they show up in the world. And whether you see it immediately or not, they are preparing to reach you. Not in the same way as before. Not with hesitation or confusion. But with a different energy, one that carries intention, honesty, and a quiet kind of courage that wasn't there before. Yet, at the exact same time, something within you begins to awaken as well. You might feel a sudden pull to reflect, to revisit memories you thought you had already processed, to question why this connection never truly faded, no matter how much time or distance stood in between. That's not coincidence. That's synchronization. Because as their heart opens, yours begins to respond. And this creates a bridge between you, one that doesn't rely on physical presence, one that doesn't need constant communication, but exists, deeply, undeniably, beyond explanation. Still, there is one final layer to this unfolding. A moment that will test everything they've just realized. A moment where they will be faced with a choice that cannot be avoided this time. To step fully into this connection. Or to walk away from something that feels destined, but demands courage. And this choice is closer than you think. Because signs are already aligning around them. Conversations that trigger reflection. Situations that mirror their inner conflict. Even unexpected reminders of you appearing at the exact moments they need clarity. It's all leading them to one point. One action. One decision that will break the pattern once and for all. And when that decision is made, you won't have to question it. You won't have to guess what they feel. Because the way it reaches you will carry a certainty you've never experienced before. No confusion. No mixed signals. Only truth, delivered in a way that changes everything between you. And that moment is no longer far away. It's already beginning to take form, right now, in ways you cannot yet see. But when it arrives, it will answer the question your heart has been holding on to all this time. And it will begin with something you never expected to hear. And when it finally happens, it won't feel loud. It won't feel rushed. In fact, it may arrive in a moment so ordinary, you almost miss it. A message, a call, a few simple words spoken in a tone you've never heard from them before. But something about it will stop you. Because beneath those words, you will feel it. The truth. Not hidden, not complicated, not layered in confusion like before. Just clear, steady, and real. And in that instant, everything you once questioned begins to make sense. All the silence, all the distance, all the moments that felt unfinished. They were not empty. They were preparation. Because what they are about to express could have never come from who they were before. It required growth. It required them to face themselves, to understand their own heart, to break through the fears that once kept them quiet. And now, they are no longer the same person who held back. They've crossed something within themselves. And you're about to feel the difference. But here's the part that will touch you deeper than anything else. It won't be perfect. Their words may not come out exactly right. They may pause, hesitate, search for the right way to explain what they feel. But that's how you'll know it's real. Because this isn't rehearsed. This isn't calculated. This is a heart finally speaking, after being silent for far too long. And as you listen, something inside you will recognize it immediately. Not because it surprises you, but because it confirms what you've always felt, even when you couldn't prove it. That this connection was never one-sided. That what you sensed, what you held on to, what you couldn't fully let go of, was always alive, on both sides. And in that moment, time itself will feel different. Past pain will lose its weight. Old questions will no longer need answers. Because the present will finally be enough. Still, there is one final piece to this unfolding that most don't expect. Because this is not just about them choosing you. It's also about you choosing what comes next. Will you allow the past to define how you respond? Or will you meet this moment with the same openness that your heart has been quietly holding all along? Because the energy you bring into this next step will shape everything that follows. And deep down, you already know this isn't just another chance. It's a rare alignment. A moment where two paths, once separated, are being brought back together with intention. But only if both sides step forward. And as powerful as their choice was, yours carries just as much weight. Because what happens after this is not written yet. It's created, in real time, by the courage you both choose to bring into this connection. And something tells me you're about to be faced with a decision of your own. One that will reveal not just what they feel, but what you are truly ready for. And just when you think the moment was only about hearing them, you begin to feel something even deeper rise within you. A question. Not spoken out loud, but undeniable. What do you truly want from this? Because now, the waiting is over. The wondering, the guessing, the silent hoping. It has all led to this exact point, where the truth is no longer hidden in signs or feelings, but standing right in front of you, asking for your response. And this is where everything becomes real. Not imagined, not idealized, but real. You start to notice the subtle shift inside your own heart. The way your emotions feel clearer, yet more intense. The way your intuition becomes sharper, almost guiding you toward an answer you've always known, but never fully admitted. Because deep down, you've always understood this connection carried something different. Something that couldn't be replaced, couldn't be forced, couldn't be forgotten. But now that it's here, now that it's no longer just a feeling but a living, breathing moment, it asks something of you. Honesty. Not the kind you show the world, but the kind you offer to yourself, when no one else is watching. Do you open your heart, fully, without holding back? Or do you protect yourself? Just enough to keep control? There is no wrong answer here. But there is a powerful consequence to each path. Because this connection, as beautiful as it is, cannot grow in half measures. It cannot survive in hesitation. It cannot expand if it's held at a distance. It requires presence. It requires truth. And above all, it requires courage. The same courage it took for them to step forward now quietly asks you to do the same. But here's what makes this moment so rare. You are not being asked to chase. You are not being asked to prove your worth. You are being invited to meet them, exactly where they are now. No past versions. No old misunderstandings. Just two hearts, seeing each other clearly, for the first time. And in this space, something extraordinary becomes possible. A new beginning. Not a continuation of what was, but a transformation into what could be. Yet, before that can fully take shape, there is one final realization that must settle into your heart. A truth that will define everything moving forward. Because what you are stepping into is not just a connection. It's a mirror. One that will reflect your deepest desires, your hidden fears, your capacity to love without conditions. And once you see yourself clearly through this connection, you will never be the same again. So as this moment unfolds, as their presence becomes more real, more consistent, more aligned with what you once only imagined, pay attention. Not just to what they say, but to what you feel. Because your true answer, is already forming within you. And the choice you are about to make will not just shape this connection. It will shape the next chapter of your life. And something tells me that chapter is about to begin in a way you never expected. And as this new chapter begins to open, there is a stillness that settles around everything. Not the kind that feels empty, but the kind that feels certain. Like the chaos that once surrounded this connection, has finally quieted, making space for something real to take its place. And in that space, you begin to see them differently. Not as the person who once confused you. Not as the one who kept you waiting. But as someone who has walked through their own inner storms, and found their way back with clarity in their hands. And surprisingly, you see yourself differently too. Stronger than you were before. Wiser in ways you didn't notice while you were growing. More grounded, more aware, more aligned with what your heart truly needs. And that's when it becomes clear. This wasn't just about love. It was about becoming. Both of you. Because if this connection had unfolded any earlier, it wouldn't have lasted. If the truth had come out before you were ready to receive it, it would have slipped through your hands. But now there is a balance. A quiet understanding that doesn't need constant explanation. A connection that doesn't rely on intensity to prove its depth. A presence that feels like peace instead of pressure. And this is where something rare begins to form. Trust. Not built through promises, but through consistency. Through actions that match words. Through moments that feel steady instead of uncertain. And as this trust grows, so does something even more powerful. A sense of home within each other. Not a place. Not a fantasy. But a feeling. One that allows you to be fully yourself, without fear of being misunderstood or unseen. And this is what your heart has been searching for all along. Not just love that excites you, but love that understands you. Not just connection that pulls you in, but connection that holds you steady. And now that it's here, you may notice something unexpected. The urgency fades. The anxiety softens. The need to question everything disappears. Because when something is truly meant to be, it doesn't create confusion. It creates clarity. But even in this calm, there is one final truth that gently reveals itself. This journey is not about holding on tightly. It's about choosing each other, again and again, without fear. Without forcing. Without losing yourself in the process. Because the strongest connections are not the ones that demand everything all at once, but the ones that grow, naturally, steadily, with mutual understanding. And as you stand here now, at the beginning of something that once felt so far away, you realize something quietly powerful. That everything you went through, every delay, every doubt, every unanswered moment, was leading you here. To a connection that is no longer hidden. To a truth that is no longer denied. To a love that no longer needs to prove itself. Because it simply is. And as this realization settles into your heart, a new question softly emerges. Not from uncertainty, but from possibility. What will you build together, now that you've finally found each other? And now, as everything feels like it has finally fallen into place, a new energy begins to rise. Not one of longing, but of creation. Because this connection, as meaningful as it is, was never meant to be the final destination. It's the beginning of something you will build together. And here is where most people misunderstand love. They believe the hardest part is finding the right person. But the truth is, the real journey begins after that. When two people No longer searching, choose to stay. Choose to understand. Choose to grow, side by side, even when it would be easier to retreat into old habits. And this is the space you are stepping into now. A space where love is no longer a question, but a responsibility. A living, breathing energy that responds to how you nurture it, how you protect it, how you honor it. And something about this connection feels different, doesn't it? It doesn't rush you. It doesn't pressure you to prove anything. It simply invites you to be present. To show up as you are, without masks, without fear, without the need to perform. And in return, it offers something rare. A partnership that reflects truth instead of illusion. But listen closely. Because there is a quiet challenge hidden inside this blessing. Old patterns don't disappear overnight. Moments of doubt may still whisper. Past fears may still try to echo. There may be days when the connection feels tested, not because it's weak, but because it's real. And real things grow through experience, not perfection. So when those moments come, when misunderstandings appear, or silence lingers longer than expected, you will be given a choice again. Not the same choice as before, but a deeper one. Will you react from who you used to be? Or respond from who you've become? Because this time, you are not the same person who once felt unsure. You carry awareness now. You carry understanding. And most importantly, you carry the ability to choose love, without losing yourself in it. And as both of you continue walking this path, something even more beautiful begins to unfold. A rhythm. An unspoken harmony where words are no longer needed to explain everything. Where presence says more than promises ever could. Where even silence feels safe, instead of uncertain. And this rhythm will guide you through everything that comes next. But there is one final insight. One that very few truly understand. This connection did not come into your life to complete you. It came to reveal you. To show you the depth of your own heart. The strength of your own patience. The power of your own love. And once you see that clearly, you stop fearing loss. You stop clinging to outcomes. Because you realize what you found is not fragile. It's aligned. And what is aligned does not need to be forced to stay. It naturally remains. So as you move forward from here, not as two people searching, but as two souls choosing, remember this. The story is no longer about if it will happen. It already has. Now, it's about how deeply you are willing to experience it. Because what lies ahead is not just love. It's a life that will slowly unfold. Moment by moment. Through every choice you both make from this point on. And something tells me, this is only the beginning of a story, far more beautiful than anything you once imagined. Sparkling Heart.